Massenomics. Welcome to Massenomics, the world's strongest podcast. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Massenomics. Make sure you go visit Massenomics.com. There you'll find the rest of our powerful content. While you're there, check out our store and buy yourself some of that sweet Massenomics gear.
Is that fun editing that now?
I mean, the
Is
only
it
bad
bad?
part is I literally have to watch
Do you have to like every?
I watch the entire episode in order
Because
to
you
do
have
it.
to always
Yeah.
select which camera's active.
Yeah.
Do you
I mean, if I want to really have there be a lot of switches and like when someone's talking,
You
switch it to them.
pretty much
I
have
just
to.
have to watch the whole thing.
basically as soon as you make the video, do you have to and then upload it to YouTube? You have to just delete it off your computer right away.
Yes.
'Cause it's
It's so
huge.
massive.
Because I have actually every time I want to do anything now, I have it on an external hard drive.
Yep.
But even on that's 5. I think mine's
500.
500, and it's maxed out. I have to delete something every time I want to use it.
That's the problem I'm running into. Is my Mac has like 10 gigs of free space,
Yeah.
and I'm just so paranoid about that stuff that the fact that it exists in one place isn't
Makes you
good
so
enough
nervous.
for me. Because I had a hard drive completely fail on me like 6 months ago. Luckily that was just a backup. So, but if that was the only place I had things, I was screwed at that point. Like nothing would exist. So, yeah, I was just wondering how you did that.
Yeah, I guess I didn't.
But if it's on YouTube, it's not that big of a
right,
deal.
that's
Like,
what I didn't like deleting
Once it's
anything,
there,
but I'm like,
it's
well,
there.
it's there, and
Like,
what do I need it for?
We're
still?
definitely not going to re-release like a
Yeah.
fucking director's
Yeah.
cut.
Well, like if 6 months ago though, like if my computer hard drive crashed and the Massenomics stuff was gone, like I'd be kind of annoyed,
Yeah,
like to have
yeah.
to like rebuild the logo and make a bunch of that shit again.
Right.
Thank goodness for cloud storage. So when you do that, do you have to go and this is going on the episode, by the way.
Okay.
So
Well, I won't. I was gonna say bad things about a lot of people here. So
when you do that, do you have to like? Is it easier when the video is recorded one solid thing, so you only have to sync up video once?
well,
Like at least with the GoPro, where it's
That-
like one. You know what I mean? You only are syncing the two files.
well,
one
no,
time.
because when we record, this GoPro will be in 4 files, and that will be in 2
that's
files.
Right, I forgot that it breaks up into like 20.
And then I usually have
Yeah.
4 files, so it's actually usually about 12 files, and then the audio.
For convenience. sake.
Yeah, but Final Cut Pro does a lot of that. As long as you name the cameras and name the
Yeah.
camera angles and all this stuff. And
If you happen to be in our area, we are definitely looking for an unpaid intern to take care of some of this creative ditch digging, like video editing and pretty much all the things that we don't want to do that Tommy doesn't have time to do. And I don't know, I'm getting some weird noise here, but I think it's just in the headphones and not. Oh yeah, it's your phone, isn't it?
I don't know. I did that last time, but you couldn't hear that.
Yeah.
We could only
Try
hear
it
it.
again here. It's not mine. It must be an iPhone thing. So, welcome to the dungeon again, guys. We're here at the Massenomics studio for the Massenomics podcast. What episode number is this, Tanner? Do you know?
This will be number 44.
So we're
I
like
think 44.
8 episodes away from a year, technically, from 52 episodes.
Not if we go by my year math that I.
Yeah, what was yours?
I
You
think
did, like,
it was
it was-
36, and I kept thinking it was 26.
So 36. It was like we've made it 6 months.
and
we did it.
And you
We're
go,
the best.
I'm not a math genius, but I think 36 is more than half of a year. And I was like, oh, yeah, you caught my test.
You know what's funny? I actually thought, speaking of like old podcasts, a long time ago on a podcast, Tyler, you made a joke about I'm the captain now. You did that from Captain Phillips, and I had no clue what you were talking about. I don't know if Tanner knew either. I think we were both like, yeah,
I
whatever.
don't understand that
And
reference.
I watched Captain Phillips like 3 weeks ago, and he said that. I'm like, right away, like, Tyler, I know what he's talking about. It came in instantly.
Yeah, so we've got, I don't know, probably a pretty full episode today. Nothing terribly groundbreaking, except Tommy's quest for hugeness has come at quite a cost lately.
Boy, has it. So I've had this thing with cleaning out my closet lately, you know, Eminem style.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're sorry, mama.
Yeah. And, yeah, it's been kind of a long time coming where I've just had a lot of clothes that like in my brain, I think I can wear that. And so it's just one of those things like I made my girlfriend be there because in my head I think, oh yeah, that shirt, yeah, I can wear that shirt still. And she'd be like, no, try it on. And I'm like, yeah, it like barely covers my belly button. So like this looks ridiculous. So no lie, I probably threw away, or when I say threw away, I'll go into Goodwill so someone else can find it. But probably close to 50 T-shirts got thrown out. I would say 8 pairs of pretty nice Levi's jeans.
That you just gave up hope on. It's like,
oh,
I'm not going back.
The only way those are fitting again is if I get down to about 180 pounds, and I do not plan on losing 40 pounds anytime soon. So like that's out the window. A large collection of dress shirts that do not fit my arms. Like it looks like I'm a guy that's trying to prove something. Like, look how fit I am.
Yeah.
Like the one I tried it on. She's like, oh, that's a pretty nice shirt. I'm like, but look at the arms. Like, if I did any, you could like literally see my tricep flexing in the shirt, and it looked so ridiculous. So, a lot of slim fit dress shirts, and probably the one that hurt the most is, and actually, depending on where I'm at in my life, maybe it's not a big deal, but at my old job, I had to wear dress pants to work, which just sucked because even at that stage, I was still like about every year having to replace all of them. And, I kind of like something with a nicer fit to it, a little slimmer fit, that modern look. And I had created a pretty awesome collection of Gap dress pants. And today was the realization where I had like 7 pairs, probably at about $60 a pop. And several of them didn't even get like, they got to my butt and that was it. A couple of them, I could put them on and it looked like, what is that guy got going on in his pants there? Like you could see every outline of like it was ridiculous. So I had to get rid of all of my dress pants, and then there was just some clothes in there that were old in general, but it ended up being 4 completely stuffed garbage bags of clothing. And probably the funniest part about it is I did almost the same thing 3 months ago, and I got 2 garbage bags out. And so this was the really fine, the
like
fine
no
tooth.
lying to yourself.
Yeah,
anymore.
like let's just like if there was any doubt, it had to get put on, and so yeah, Massenomics is to blame for this. I'm 27 years old and I'm a growing boy. It's a real problem in life right now.
What about your improved dresser space though? Now I bet it's just like you could put anything. You
Well,
want.
see, I didn't have a dresser,
Okay.
but I have a walk-in closet,
Okay.
and it was completely full. Now it's to the point where it looks like I don't own clothes. Like there's just hangers and hangers and hangers with nothing on them. So it looks like I had some like going out of sale business or going out of business sale in my closet or something. So yeah, now I gotta buy new clothes, I think, because it's getting down there.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to go the other way where I've got my audio got all jacked up there. My where ever since I lost a bunch of weight, I had to buy basically. I didn't change in physical size, like shirt size, really. But what it used to be is I used to fit in a 2XL in like 50% of the 2XL shirts I bought. So I would buy them, and there was a 50-50 shot by like the second wash that it would fit anymore. Depending on how it handled the wash cycle, there's a chance that like it was 50%. I go to concerts and I'd be like, yes, I got to buy this. I love this band. I'm going to buy this shirt. And I'd like half the time I'd get home and I'd be like, fuck, it doesn't fit. But you can't buy a 3X because then it's too loose. Like the 3X was always too loose. So now so I used to basically give away half of the new shirts I bought. I gave to a friend of mine who was for sure a 2X, and so it all worked for him. But now I wish I had them all back so now I don't have any question when I buy a 2X, except for if you're interested in buying our Massenomics' Numero Uno shirt. Make sure you buy it tight. Like obviously that shirt's supposed to be tight.
Absolutely.
Every one we sell is supposed to be.
It's supposed to be tight. And mine, I've never failed to fill out a 2X as bad as I failed in that one. I'm like, fuck, damn it. But so I don't think I'll ever be in an extra large. I don't think that's
because I would say I'm an extra large in a lot of things already too. Like,
Yeah.
Because it's just the fact that clothes are made for the average person, which means they don't have thighs of any kind. They do not have a butt of any kind. They might have a gut, which I think most clothes account for that, but you don't have like upper body, shoulder development or arm development of any kind either. And so that's one thing I figured out in a hurry was once I started to get, I think squats alone just automatically ruled me out of so many pants.
Anything that says slim fit.
Yeah,
on it
and I liked clothes that have like a slimmer
Yeah.
fit. Like I don't like to look like I'm wearing like paper bags for clothes.
Right.
But it's like to accommodate that, you just have to give up on the fact of a waist ever fitting.
Yeah.
So I just start to size up 2 or 3 sizes, and now the legs fit perfect, but the waist is obscene, like ridiculously large. But that's just
You
kind
might
of the
have to
compromise.
just go to like Jabos or Jankos. Like, really wide.
Just something with some room to grow into.
The interesting thing too, though, is like the game has changed now with all the you can get like the spandex infused clothes now.
Yeah, so a lot of things have stretch built into them.
Yeah, I got
really good in the waistband.
I got a
too.
pair here that I got. They're Duluth Trading Company pants, and they look like khakis, but they really feel like a denim. But you can like the 4-way stretch, and it's badass. But it also has the gusseted crotch, so there's like
For
a
maximum
whole
crotch
extra,
action.
whole extra like triangle in there.
Well, every pair of pants I've owned, that's where it gives away. It's the
Yeah,
crotch.
so that's the same. I was going through when I was going through old pants. I had several pairs where the crotch was blown out,
Yeah.
but I was still wearing them because it's like I didn't have any other options. at the
Yeah,
time.
and then you can just be like, well, why are you looking so hard down there? But they call these. I think these are called. They call that like the ballroom jeans, with the extra space. But
Maybe you want to show.
should I? Yeah, let's see how we go. I don't know how well this angle is gonna work, but you see the gusset in the crotch there. Tommy, can we see?
I don't have gusseted in these. Some of my other sweatpants
Tanner,
do
how's
have
your
the gusseted
crotch
crotch.
looking?
Oh,
Everything's looking
lack of gusset.
looking good. Well, I got the most
I'm wearing,
gusseted crotch.
I'm wearing my dress sweatpants, so these are kind of my going out on the town sweatpants.
But yeah, so these have been like, with these I can get in so many positions.
You
do
can
the
bend over
splits.
without feeling like,
Yeah.
Well,
what am
for
I-
real, like for work, if I was in like khaki dress pants, and I am like standing on my head or bending over or climbing up in or onto something, like they'd last 2 weeks, So I think these are pretty penny though. They're more than I would want to spend on pants if I was paying for them. Fortunately, I'm not.
Levi 541s? Is that 541? Is that the athletic?
The 541 is a nice fit. That's
I've got a couple pairs of those.
yeah. If you're a Levi's fan, 541 is the fit that is. I think they just call it the athletic fit. I
Yeah,
think
that's what
where
it
it has
is.
the roomy cut thigh, and it still comes to a bit of a taper, so it's not like you're swimming in the bottom of your pants.
It's essentially the only like if I was to buy a pair of Levi's, no other pair is going to fit appropriately. There might be one that's like a real baggy one.
Yeah,
that I could wear,
had
but-
like I know well because I've gone through the stages of getting bigger, but initially I love the 511s. Like that's and I think that's like their number one seller. It's like a slim fit jean, and that's kind of like I think the standard for a lot of people nowadays. But after so long, the 511 to get that one to fit my thighs, I'd have to get a waist size like 6 sizes bigger than what I like when I would normally wear like a 32. I'd have to get like a 38 to get that thing to fit my thighs. And at that point, your jeans have like baggage at the top to get that to work. So then they had this fit called the 508, and it was the greatest thing in the world because it was the 511 with a wide thigh. Like, what more could you want? And then, of course, they had to discontinue that. So I still have been able to find those on Amazon occasionally, and I'll pick up a pair or two when I see them. But yeah, they're going out, and the 541 has replaced it. So
Okay.
Which one's the one? Now, doesn't Levi's have the stretchy?
yeah, and then depending on the wash, some of them have stretch in them, some of them don't. But yeah, if you get that stretch, it's the comfort level is
Yeah, and the different. What'd you say? The wash, like,
Yeah.
Is that I mean color?
Yeah,
or
like the color, yeah, the
because
pat-
the different colors fit differently, even
Yes.
if they're the exact same size. And
and
they
I
even
think that
say
goes
that.
with like
Yeah.
kind of bad mass production. I don't know
Yeah.
what that accounts to, but yeah, you almost always have to try them on because like a 34 waist is not always a 34. I actually have pairs that it's the same exact style. A 36 waist is smaller than a 34 waist, and I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Now, you haven't. The other thing though is, can't you just wear tighter shirts just to instead of getting bigger, just wear smaller shirts?
I could, but there comes that point where when you have shirts where the sleeves are like really, really tight in relation to the body. It looks like you're like trying to show off to people, like, check these things out, you know. And
we're not doing that.
like maybe like you're trying
I was
too
pretty
hard.
sure that's what we were doing.
You know, if you can fill out a whole shirt good, like that's maybe one thing. But yeah, sometimes the fit's just a little off in one way or another.
Admission to Swoleklahoma State University comes at a price. And Leah was cool with all of that. She
throwing it.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
she was the one that actually had to talk me into a lot of them.
Like, I'm tired of you looking.
And then
ridiculous.
I was like, well, this could be a workout shirt now, because that's like the down.
Justify
Is that what you do? You like start taking
natural,
the sleeves
the
off
natural
of everything?
No, the natural progression of things is like, well, that shirt looks kind of ridiculous to wear out. Like, I could wear a tight shirt in the gym. Like that's a good spot to wear it. She's like, you have like a stack of 50 workout. Well, I'm like, well, phase out the bad ones there now. And so like those got thrown. So I did cut that stack down, because once you get such a large stack, you start to realize that the bottom, like 2/3 of it, essentially don't move, because you're just cycling through like the top 10. Mm-hmm. And so I got rid of a lot of shirts there too.
Do you
So
find,
you know, I could be looking pretty fresh in the gym the next couple weeks here.
a little new look? Do you find that you get like an emotional attachment to any of them, or it's hard to throw it away? Where it's like, oh man, that shirt and me have some history.
Oh, yeah.
I have a few of those that are like still are hanging on. My wife has thrown a couple away without my blessing, and I was not impressed. I was really, really pissed. Because I'll even do, like, especially with like band or concert
See,
t-shirts.
that was my thing.
I keep all of them. So
Yes.
what I do is I actually I need to have it done, but I'll get them and I'll save like for I'm gonna have like a quilt made.
Yeah.
And so what I'll do is I'll just cut the actual image off of the shirt,
Right.
and I just have a garbage bag full of just that. That I'll eventually have thrown into a quilt at some point, but
Or not.
Or-
Have a garbage bag.
Or it'll be a really cool
yeah.
garbage bag.
this has been like 8 years in the making, so it's more likely not.
And that's the same thing I had. Like, my rattiest t-shirt I had was a Ramones t-shirt that I know for a fact I got in 8th grade, because I felt like I was the man that I was in 8th grade and had Ramones t-shirts. Actually, no one knows who the Ramones are. Like, I'm that punk rock that I know this. And I rocked that shirt. Like, it was too big for me when I got it, but I rocked that shirt forever. And then I pulled it out of my closet and I was showing Leah. She's like, whoa. Like, she's like, did you buy that shirt that way? Or is that how, did you do that to it? Because it was originally black. It had changed to like a light gray. And it had like the most perfect distressing around the collar and the sleeves and everywhere. And it looks like a type of shirt, like a vintage band shirt that you would pay like $40 for at some ridiculous store now. But
So what'd you do with that one?
she had to keep that one.
Yeah.
She wouldn't let me get rid of it.
I've had some where we fight about it every time I wear them. Where like, you're like, I can almost see through that. You know what I mean? Like,
That's how it is.
and I've had some where like it'll wear out around the actual printing on it. You know, it'll start tearing out to where you could like take a letter off probably out through the actual shirt, and I still hang on to them. You know, I don't know.
You didn't throw away any Massenomics shirts.
Oh,
though,
no.
did you?
Those are, I think it would have to be like held together by like threads to throw one of those away.
We'll eventually sell some of Tommy's used Massenomics shirts at a premium.
So now here's the final one about clothing. You know, we touched kind of on the outerwear, but also when you get bigger, the underwear I feel like changes a little bit too.
I just deal with the tension.
You know,
I find mine just gets more poop stains.
it's just like a reusable dirty diaper, right? And
Turn it inside out.
That's another one that I'm still looking for, that perfect pair of underwear. I don't know if I've found that.
I'm pretty locked in.
Are you?
I go with either the Reebok or the starter brand, the black, like all spandex boxer briefs.
See, and I have a thing where, and I know I've talked about this at work with Matt before, where sometimes spandex things, like whether it's a shirt or whatever, if you get kind of sweaty in it, it almost kind of agitates your skin, like gets you kind of rashy. And he was telling me about this, and we looked it up online. Like, it is an actual thing where, like, sometimes that stuff agitates skin. So I have special skin. That's what I'm trying to let everyone know.
Tommy and his sensitive genitals.
But it just, I don't know, like
special ball
spandexy
skin.
stuff can like agitate my, like
Yeah.
same thing. I have tights. Like sometimes it just kind of irritates my skin.
Yeah.
But, so I'm looking for that perfect underwear if you exist out
If
there.
anyone would like to send us perfect underwear,
Preferably not used.
yeah, definitely, mostly not used. Email us at getbig@massenomics.com.
Yeah.
we'll gladly let your underwear cover us. And we'll wear it around only. Maybe film it, take pictures.
Well, you said we'll eat anything that people send us, so I don't know.
So please let it be new underwear when you send it to us. I had actually heard a deal where apparently that's a thing podcasts do, is they'll just get a P.O. box so people don't know where your address is. And then they'll just be like, if you'd like to send us some free shit, just and they put it on the air instead of having that one form of contact. We're not going to do that.
Yeah.
What do you think a P.O.
Unless
box
you're
costs?
cool about your...
It's not that much. It's probably like $50 a year, but just email us and then send us some stuff. But definitely send us some stuff.
Yeah, for
Has
sure.
anyone ever sent anything to the actual gym?
No. I don't really think so.
I don't think there's a mechanism for receiving.
Yeah, I
that.
don't really
We
know
got a
how
special
the...
guest
Ooh.
here.
Fletch, we've talked about this. What are you doing?
Come on.
Go lay down, bud. Fletcher, go lay down. Well,
He's putting his head down in
this
shame.
is the most emotionally dependent dog on the planet. You don't know, go lay down. Thank you. God. So that happened. Well, that about wraps up our clothing conversation. We've covered eating underwear, mailing us underwear, Tommy's clothes, jeans, pants, brands we like. What else we want to get into? We did tease this last week a little bit about the strongman competition coming up. By the time you're hearing this, it will be, just a few weeks away?
A month.
I guess really the delay doesn't really matter because we won't be talking about it until after the delay anyway.
Right.
But it's about, now it's probably 6 weeks out, 6-7 weeks away. But yeah, so this has there's some events in this that Tanner and I have never tinkered with. We've seen them, but including the Conan's wheel, which I don't know, maybe I can pull something up here, but you want to describe that a little bit, Tanner?
Is this event named after Late Night with Conan O'Brien?
I think that's exactly.
It was made famous on that.
Yeah.
No, I think the movie with Arnold, he did something similar to this, actually. Honestly, I think is what I read something about that. Don't quote me on that, but it's not like a really old strongman event, so I do think it came from the movie, maybe. But you go around in a circle. There's a horizontal bar that comes out from the center pivot, and you hold that in your crease between your forearms and biceps, like a Zercher style carry.
So
a Zercher
here's
hold.
the deal from Conan the Barbarian, the Wheel of Pain.
Yeah, the Wheel of Pain. That's where it's from 1982. That's I think where the event is adapted from. Yeah. And I don't know if his is exactly the same or not, but they say it's similar to that.
Jesus, I'm not going to watch this whole clip.
You have to watch the entire.
See the Conan. We don't
It
know the
only
context.
says 3 minutes.
But neither of us have ever tried this before. We don't.
Have
we
you
don't
guys
have
managed to set up anything in training to mimic this, or are we just hoping for the best on this?
The closest thing we've done is Zercher hold with the axle bar.
Yep.
Because the part that you hang on to is large diameter, even bigger on than an axle bar probably.
Yeah.
But we know what the weight is going to be, but we don't really know what that loading equates to.
Right.
So this really is it. Does he do anything cool with it, or does he literally just pushes it until he's done? He doesn't break
Looks
it.
like he's just kind of like a slave pushing that around with the other
And that's
one.
not really even the same thing.
No, so he's just pushing it. We'll show you here if you're watching what it actually is. But basically, the Conan's wheel on Conan the Barbarian is essentially just a merry-go-round. This is probably so this is a little more like it. Again, I don't know if this is going to turn out on the video, but a lot of times they'll have like a motorcycle or something crazy hanging from in there, and so you walk it around the circle. We've seen some for sale and kind of thought about buying them. The problem is there's just no way to.
They take
Where
a
to
huge
put
amount
it.
of space.
Yeah.
And you guys aren't sure what motorcycle to put in it.
Yeah, we
would
don't know which
definitely
motorcycle.
we definitely would use Tanner's moped. I'm gonna have a whole bunch of sound noise here when my furnace kicks on. I gotta shut that off. So, but yeah, so we've got the Conan's wheel,
And that's 650 pounds or 600 pounds or something
yeah,
like that.
6 or 650 depending on what weight class we're in. Then we've got. And so we have no idea how heavy that is either, because the weight doesn't hang directly like
right,
on
like
your
you
forearms.
can see it makes a difference on how close the weight is to the center pivot versus how close it is out to your arms.
Is that how far you can go for time, or is that just pick it up and?
They can do that both ways, but ours is 2 full revolutions. I think that how fast you can do 2 full revolutions, but sometimes they'll do max distance without dropping it.
Yep.
You know, I've seen that before, but I think ours is a time for 2 full revolutions.
Okay.
Or if you don't make it that far, then it would be.
Must be a time cap, I suppose.
Yeah.
Or no, is it? It's just once you drop it, you're done.
Yeah, maybe it is. Yeah, something like that.
So, I don't know. It's so hard to predict what the weight's going to feel like, but I really don't feel too terribly confident.
No, I also don't feel confident about that event.
I think part of the deal with this competition is this is done by, is it U.S. Strongman?
Yes.
So, and I think that's why the weights are so heavy. Like, obviously, in our area, I feel like these weights are
super heavy.
Super, super, super heavy. But I think that's because there's some sort of national component. So the weights have to be, if you finish, in whatever this percent, if all the weights are the same across the board, they'll know how you measure up.
And this is also by weight class, though, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
Which, where do the weight classes split kind of on the upper level here?
275.
I'll look this up again, too. It's a little weird how they...
There's categories like heavyweight and super heavyweight and middleweight and lightweight. Well, those are the categories, but then within those there's also like subcategories.
So it makes reading
really?
it makes reading it
of like kind of like
confusing.
Division or like level or
also divided by weight, just like a smaller subdivision
okay.
of weight. Like
So I don't know if they do that just for filling in heats or I really don't know. But I had to message Tanner like I feel like defining weight classes should be less complicated to look at.
Right.
Like there should just be a cutoff, and then you're at this weight, and a cutoff, and you're at that weight. And I couldn't for the life of me.
But I'd say there's a good chance we'll be in the same weight class. We'll be doing the same weights, I think.
I was hoping that Tanner would cut some weight. What are you at now, Tanner?
Probably close to 280.
And
I think 275 is the cutoff.
Let's see here. If I wanted to do kilos, don't make me do this.
See, there's heavyweight is
Yeah, so there's like 3 weights listed. Oh, there we go. So yeah, I just don't understand what the gaps are. So
if you're anything over 275, then you're in the 308.
Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you weigh 276, you're in the super heavyweight class.
Interesting.
But if you weigh
So it's not from 242 to 308 is heavyweight?
Well,
308
no,
plus
no,
is super
no.
heavy?
242 to 275. Well, 221 to 275 is heavyweight.
That's so confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's not like a crossover. So there's a lot of assumptions I'm trying to make here, and I can't.
and then the SHWs come out.
Yep. That's anything over 275, you're in super heavyweight. So that's so we'd be using the heaviest weights because every weight class uses different weights on almost every event.
Yeah. So the Conan's wheel's pretty gangster heavy as far as we know.
We did the Zurcher hold on the axle bar with 400 to 450 pounds, something like that, and that's super heavy. I don't know.
I don't know. Like
equates to
just having that on my arms was something.
Did you just load it in a squat rack and hold it?
Yeah,
and that was it. And I don't think.
And you cannot breathe.
Yeah, I couldn't breathe. So if that was a weight that I had to move, I feel like my first step would be me falling over and coughing that weight up.
No, I mean, you can do everything you can to get a good breath, a big breath of air in your lungs or your belly or anything like that. And as soon as you pick it up, it's just like
driving it out of you.
Gone. And it's like a head rush, you can't breathe.
Yeah, so that we're expecting that to really suck.
Yeah, and maybe not do well at it.
And then the next one that we think is going to really suck is the frame carry, which the frame carry is 650.
I think
at our weight class.
Yep.
And I guess I have those weights here as well, if I can find them. But yeah, 650 on the frame, and I don't know, Tanner, you're a pretty solid deadlifter. Obviously, I think the frame is a different animal as far as, it's going to be higher. We do know it's, I think, 18 inches off the ground to the handles.
Yeah, whereas a bar is normally 9 inches.
Yeah.
So it's twice as high. So it's high.
So it should
it's
be
a high
twice as
frame.
easy.
Yeah, so we should be able to do 1,200 pounds pretty easily.
I think that's how it works. But that's so much more than I've ever deadlifted for sure. So I really have,
and it's
not the
it's
slightest clue.
it's also the parallel grips, obviously,
like trap bar style,
which is different too.
So that we also expect to suck. I think that's 120 foot. Oh no, it's bad, man. We're 700 pounds on the Conan's wheel.
Okay.
And 650 on the frame carry. There's a max deadlift event, which I've
never tried a deadlift before, so I don't know much
seems,
about that event
seems like
either.
that might be fun.
I don't know if either of you guys have
400
ever tried
pounds
that.
seems like a lot, so I don't.
That's in it. So I have some events here that are not going to be my jam. I think the Conan's wheel is a wild card. The max deadlift I do not expect to do well on, relatively speaking. A guy can only compete with yourself at that point.
Right.
But the frame carry, I just don't even know. I can't imagine that's going to be that awesome. So my two events that I'm hoping to do all right at is going to be we do have there's a press event. Thank God. That'll keep me in it. The press event is the Viking press. So that's where I don't know how this is totally set up, but basically it's two hands. Your grip, instead of being like on a barbell, is turned 90 degrees.
Yeah.
I have that noise. You don't have that noise?
Yeah, it was happening to me.
Okay. It's definitely probably Tanner's fault. But anyway, so that's it. Like, you're turned 90 degrees instead of being, in front of you.
Yeah.
And pressing overhead. So that is 290.
Yeah, I think 290. And also, from what I can tell, that is going to utilize the Conan's wheel also. So the weight is there's not 290 pounds at your hands.
Yeah.
It's also on that lever. So we really don't know what that weight will feel like for sure either.
And so we rigged up a practice rig for that sort of yesterday too, which was, again, better than nothing.
Yeah, I think that was pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's definitely probably not the most accurate.
No.
But what we did is we took two barbells, took them off basically laid it on the safety bars in the squat rack, sandwiched on one end, two 25-pound plates, one on either side of the safety bar, and then loaded our weight on the other end of the barbell and pressed, with the weight hanging there.
Right. Difficult to describe
what
that is.
Yeah,
Like,
it really
I was
is.
going to say, yeah, I saw it yesterday. And I don't know how you would explain it.
Yeah.
It's but so I don't know. It went okay. The weight moved fine. I think we'll do fine at that event. It's for reps, so I expect to do more than one of it, and that'll be what it is. That is, though, you can push
You
press.
can push press, but you can't jerk.
Yeah, so you get one bend of the knees at the beginning, and once the weight's moving up, you can't dip back under.
Right.
I do suppose mainly for judging's sake, because you could basically just stand that up with your legs almost. You know what I mean? If you got just under it enough, you can just be doing most of the work with your legs. So that'll be what that'll be. I'm kind of looking forward to trying that one. And then what is the last event?
The sandbag. Keg.
And we don't know. We know what the weights are.
Is that kind of like a loading medley type thing?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a load or not. If it's just
it just says medley. So
I don't know if you're loading. I don't know if when you get to the end, if you're loading it on something or just like crossing a line with it and dumping it.
Yeah. But that's pretty heavy. It's 260 and 280, and we don't know if it's
how many
of each at that weight. We do have a 280-pound sandbag that I'm not going to practice hauling that around. At least not yet. I might wait a week or two before I try and move with that.
It's really heavy, so it's hard to pick up from the ground.
Yeah, and the keg's something we don't have. So
right.
So that'll be a bit of a wild card, because I think that's a thing that most people could train fairly common. At least some of the other guys that we see that are doing this competition are familiar with a little bit with the keg and sandbags. So.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I don't know how many people are going to show up to this thing. I don't know how well run of an event it is. We just kind of
don't really know anything. It's close to us.
Where's this one at even?
In Sioux Falls.
Where are they having it at though?
Some armory.
Oh.
Yeah.
That apparently we were told used to host way back in the day like high school parties, and there'd be like one person there, and I guess they got in a whole bunch of trouble. It'd be like one adult chaperone. And then it would just be a bunch of teenagers just getting shit house drunk. And apparently the word got out on that, and they shut that whole operation down. So now they just have strongman competitions there with 30 or 40 people in the stands. I'm sure of it.
So what's the date on that?
March 11th.
And okay, so you got March 11th is that. Chamberlain meet is February 3rd?
4th, I think, is the...
And then state meet March
25th.
25th.
Yep, 2 weeks after the strongman, 25th.
Chamberlain meet, Tanner, you were going to do just the deadlift for that, and now you're
I think I'm going to switch if I'm able to do the full power meet, and I can't bench, so for my bench attempt, I would just go out and do a couple 100 pounds on my first attempt and sit the rest out, but I would be doing that just so I could squat also, because there's really no reason I can't squat.
And like you said earlier, because it would be super, super boring.
Yeah, it'd just make my day more exciting other than sitting there for 6 hours watching everyone else have fun and then be like,
now you just get to sit around all day, get kind of sore, and have to get warmed up again.
Yeah.
Do they do like, I don't know if will they give you like, can you win the squat?
You could. They do have a
squat
of the entire meet.
Okay.
You do, or the heaviest of each event. If you put up the heaviest number of the entire meet, they have a best squatter award, best deadlifter, best bencher.
Maybe you could make your multiply debut at this meet.
I mean, no better time to try it out than to even touch one for the first time that at a meet.
Just see if you can borrow someone else's gear.
Mind if I borrow your suit?
They'll be like, it doesn't work like that, you idiot.
I'm hoping I'm supposed to be on call that weekend, so I'm kind of hoping I can get that switched out so we can make it down there for that.
We should have 4 Massenomics guys. We do have 4 Massenomics guys signed up for that.
Now, who's doing that? You?
Larry Legend, Mount Rossmore, and Adam.
Right on.
Did you say Ross is doing...
I think he's doing bench only, and the other 2 are doing full power. Adam is in 181. Ross will be bench only in either 242 or 275, and Larry will be full power in 220, I think is
I think that's how they split there.
So he'll be 220.
And are Adam and Larry both doing with wraps, raw with wraps?
Yes. Yep. I don't know if they're... I'm sure Larry's going to wear wraps. Adam might just wear his knee sleeves. But in the in the classification for APF, it's either
anything on your knees.
Raw, completely bare knees, or classic raw, and sleeves and wraps are the same. So he's never worn wraps that I know, so he's probably going to wear his knee sleeves,
Maybe
I
not
guess.
want to start.
Yeah.
Interesting. And the meet in March should be pretty legit. We've got Jonah Leo's the one putting that on. He put on that push-pull meet a month ago that turned out to look really, really badass down there. Yeah. So this one will be in an even bigger venue. He's got, I believe he's got Gino announcing it.
Yep.
So that'll be a thrill for everybody.
I bet it's going to be run really well.
I can't imagine it not being. Do you are you going to do that one? Or
not if I do the strongman. No, if I'm probably doing the strongman, so no, I won't do both because they're 2 weeks in back to back, and I won't be able to bench by that time anyway.
Why not?
So yeah.
What do you think about that? Like long term, what are your thoughts on that? Where it's been now, how long has it been? You haven't really been able to bench.
Yeah, it's slowly getting better. So I think
by this time next year you might be at 70%.
Well, I think within maybe say 6 more months from now, I might be able to be training bench is what a realistic goal, because it is on a almost weekly level, improving at this point.
Is it?
Yeah. So
which is more than you could say for a really long time.
Yeah,
probably.
Right, for sure. And basically the secret to that has just been not benching. But I wasn't even able to overhead press. Like, it got bad enough that was out of the question, and now that basically doesn't hurt me whatsoever to overhead press. So it is getting better.
Did that how much doubt creeped in during all of this? Because it has been so long.
Yeah.
Did you take us to like the low point, like
Tell
contemplate
me
suicide?
What was rock bottom during your?
Did you realize your entire
no bench
existence was for
nothing? Usually the worst days were days when I thought maybe it was getting a little better. So I'd be like, all right, I think I'm going to be able to bench a little bit today, and I go in there with the mentality that I was going to, and it would feel terrible.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what the fuck do I do? Like, that's what I wanted to do today. You know,
Yeah.
It's like, so once I got out of that mindset and started just telling myself I'm not going to be able to bench today or next week, that I'm just going to program that day differently and exclude
Did your
bench.
programming for that day usually consist of sitting in the corner and feeling sorry for yourself?
Pouting
and telling everyone how injured you were? How good how good you used to be?
What
I used to bench 700 pounds.
My plan of attack usually is like, if I can't do it or if I'm feeling bad about it, like my goal there is to bring everyone else down as much as possible.
Inflict your attitude on everyone else. Let them feel your willpower.
Tanner come in as soon as anybody starts loading the bench. Like, you guys, all you're going to do is hurt yourselves with that. You guys shouldn't be lifting
Friggin'
those heavy
pussies.
weights.
Give up while you still can.
I mean, did you know, because you're pretty strong, obviously, and you're not, like, super old. You know what I mean? You're still pretty young. So you've got, who was it that said that? Really, as a power lifter, you kind of hit your prime when you're in your late 30s.
Yeah, I still feel like there will be a time not that far down the road that I'll be benching more than I ever have been at this point. Like, I haven't come to the conclusion that I won't be.
Is this a reference to your multiply days that are coming up?
That's yeah. Like Jonah, when we had Jonah on the podcast, he kind of, his opinion was that some people need to do equipped
lifting just
for
to be
an
able
injury
to
standpoint and stuff like that. And I don't see that in the near future or anything. I don't have any aspirations for that either. But no, I think sooner rather than later, I'll eventually be benching normal again. I mean, now it's gotten to the point that I can bench lightly. I've been utilizing the band bell bar, the earthquake bar, and I'm able to do that with moderate weight as far as that moderate weight on that is concerned, and I think it's helping now. I'm able to do things now enough, but for a while I could do so little, I feel like I couldn't even do it. The only thing I could do to help it is nothing. But now it's gotten to a point where I actually can work it a little bit to help it rather than to hurt it.
During that time though? I mean, because there was a long time where you basically can't bench.
Yeah, I injured it in June.
Yeah,
and it's
did it
February,
and you didn't get really a very promising diagnosis from the doctor, who just said
no. The doctor told me he said he looked at me or looked at my x-rays of it's my AC joint, and we had taken the x-rays and he looked at those and had no conversation with me about it. He just looked at me and he's like, "You got to quit lifting right now." Like, he's like, we hadn't talked
diagnosis.
We hadn't like discussed that I'm lifting or anything, you know.
Like you look well. It just must mean you look like you lift.
I guess. Yeah, and I was like, okay, could we talk more about that? Like, that's not exactly what I'm hoping for here.
But between that diagnosis and all the time in which you were basically trying and failing to get through that, did it set in at all? You're like, I might not be able to like do this for the long. Like, I just may not be able to bench. And how does powerlifting in the future look for you if you can't bench at all? Are you just gonna be the deadlift guy that is that what are you gonna do? That's because then squatting still kind of bugs your shoulder. And
you could go to Olympic lifting.
Well, that's my
yeah, that'd be great for your shoulder.
My thought was I thought before, well, strongman benching is never occurs in strongman, and for whatever reason, overhead pressing doesn't, even though it was bothering me at points, like, it doesn't bother me near as much as benching itself. So I thought, well, I could probably just focus more on that. But never really did I think now that powerlifting wouldn't be an option. I'm kind of I haven't succumbed to that yet. And I don't think it's just me not wanting to admit that either. I think it'll eventually improve enough that it'll be all right.
Because you're not like I'm gonna power lift at all costs. You're not gonna be one of the guys that like gets.
But what are all your sponsors and fans gonna say about that?
I don't want to let anyone down, but it's a lot of heavy burden on these shoulders.
But the expectations.
But no, that's a good point too. It's not like I'm out there like, I don't care, like, I'll wreck myself. No, because that is in my mind. Like, I do want to be able to be 50 and like probably still working out. But not powerlifting then necessarily.
But if you don't break the records that no one knows what they are and cares about, then you did nothing with your life.
My life sucks.
No, I was just I don't think we had talked about that, and I was just curious as to because for such a long time I was like, well, geez, I wonder if he's even planning on being able to do this in the long. But you wanted to,
But the thing about bench pressing, I like bench pressing, and it's probably it's squats definitely not a good event for me. Bench pressing or deadlifting are my better two, and benching is probably my best event out of the three when I'm able to do it. So that kind of sucks. Yeah. But it's also the least badass lift of the three. Watching someone bench is not that exciting at a meet. It
seems to be the number that the average person who does
it the most relatable one.
Like the average person on the street wants to know if they even think you look like you lift, how much you can bench.
Well, and they won't even say how much can you bench, just how much you can lift means how much can you bench.
Yeah. Well, I can lift all of it. But
or leg press.
But watching a bench press isn't that.
No, I think it's the lamest to watch, even though it might be it could be my favorite or it's one of my better ones. It's certainly not the most exciting to watch.
It's not a showstopper.
No,
that's for sure.
A heavy deadlift is the most exciting thing to watch, I think.
Yeah.
Or a big squat that might rival it too.
Yeah, just because a grind on a bench still doesn't seem that heroic.
No, because you just see all you can see is a few arms struggling,
and you're laying down.
Exactly.
You're laying down.
You're like, I understand.
On your back.
I understand that that's hard, but you literally are laying down right now.
It's like you're just like a couple steps away from what you would do right before you go, to go to bed.
like you can just let go of the weight and go to sleep. But yeah, you see somebody grind a heavy deadlift or barely, the whole body starts shaking.
Yeah.
It gets pretty nasty.
The frustrating thing is I was having between the doctor and I did go to a physical therapist that I did like. It didn't necessarily offer a lot that helped me per se, but at least
because you're like a physical therapy expert already.
No, because but what I liked about it is that he wasn't dismissive right away, and he's aware of Massenomics before I walked in, and he watched our strongman and stuff, so. He knows that
you were kind of a big deal.
Well, no, he knew that my goal was to
He said this was the first celebrity I've ever got to do physical therapy.
I'm doing this one pro bono. No, but he knew without me even having to explain that I wanted to be able to lift still and that I wasn't going to not lift. So at that point, it's like, well, what can we do to make that a reality instead of just like, no, you can't lift.
I think we've talked about it in the past too. If I could find like a chiropractor or a PT who trains with us, like who I see lift or I see training at CrossFit or doing something, I would definitely that would be the person I'd go to because I get so tired of
Well, it would save you the first 15 minutes of trying to.
All they'll say is if you got hurt doing this, well, you should not do that anymore. That's it. Well, no more playing soccer for you, young man.
Well, that the original doctor, I guess I didn't explain that well, but it was funny. He said, when you're a young college kid playing football, I didn't play college football, and also that doesn't even apply. But it's just like based on all his like old man doctor assumptions, he's like, if you're a young in your early 20s playing football, you can get away with being big and lifting like that. But how old are you now? And I was like, oh, I'm just about 30. He's like, oh. No, that's too old. You can't. You stop now. There's no reason for you to do that. And it's like
that way when you're 80 years old and you can't even lift, you can't even body weight squat your own ass up off the ground, and it's ridiculous. Plus, what kind of an existence is that? Maybe would you take the last most miserable 5 years of your life off, like to maybe be jacked and strong the rest of the time? Probably.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
To go through your later days without a life alert strapped to your wrist.
Exactly.
Well, at this point, it's one of the things that I enjoy the most. Recreationally, it is what I do.
What other hobby could you find that's kind of gay but not completely gay?
That at least straddles the borderline.
If people want to call you out
without people being completely.
If people want to call you out for it, at least you're huge, so they keep it to themselves.
Yeah.
That's true. There's not that many other things out there that are just like semi-homosexual.
I like to just wrestle dudes in Speedos on the weekends. It's not weird.
Yeah.
That's a thing. Is there a thing that's like adult league wrestling?
So
The documentary?
I just found out about this. Chuck, gym member Chuck, was telling me that his dad is in like adult wrestling leagues.
Like WWF
No,
or
no.
WCW.
Like high school style wrestling. Like, and they can go to tournaments and stuff, and which kind of surprises me that it's not a bigger thing because wrestling's a fairly large sport in the Midwest, and it's not like football where you get old and you can't do it anymore. You have to have 11 other guys. I mean, to wrestle, you need essentially a mat and one willing participant. So
or unwilling, depending on how good you are at it.
So he told me his dad does tournaments, and it's like, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I can't imagine wanting to do that.
Oh no!
I mean,
I wrestled in high school, and the idea of having to wrestle now just sounds
like,
miserable.
no, I understand like things like grappling and like jujitsu could be fun. It's something I'd be interested in learning, just a little bit of, just to try it. But I definitely would like to limit the amount of dudes like hanging on, trying to throw me around. I'm like, I don't know. Well, it just seems like it's so frustrating.
Well, when that one weird smelly guy kind of comes at you weird and does some crazy throw and snaps your leg, you're just going to be so pissed for the next 9 months.
And the last thing I need to do is get hurt by someone that smells worse than me.
You know? Have you used your Power Clean soap then?
It's all gone. Yeah, okay. I used it all. Yeah.
You did really? It's gone.
I feel like I was using it.
Did
wrong.
you eat it or?
Yeah,
I just
because I'm still on. I started mine well before that, and
yeah, because Tanner keeps all of our sponsorship deals for 4 to 6 weeks before we get any. It's actually been gone for probably a full week still.
Really?
Now, yeah. Like I don't know. It went, but
you just have more.
I think my wife was using it too.
Oh.
Maybe Mary was not into yours.
She wasn't allowed, so. Have you tried yours at all?
Yep, I've used it a little bit.
Did we talk about the protein muffins on air or off air?
I think that was off air.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So did you guys? We haven't talked about this before. Have you guys tried the flapjack protein muffins?
I did. The muffins seemed mine tasted okay. I don't remember what I had. The s'mores and something else, and they tasted okay. They were. Like you said, kind of definitely not a muffin.
Well, it's not like when
it's not
like,
a muffin.
oh, here's a muffin.
Yeah,
like it doesn't have that wrapper around the outside.
But I did have the pancakes. Actually, yesterday I had the pancakes, and like you said, it definitely is not like a good old
flapjack.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it was good. I had the was it carrot spice?
How was that flavor?
It was actually good. I didn't expect it to be good, but I had some. My wife had some. My son Lincoln had some, and he doesn't like anything. Like he doesn't like anything.
If they had like
not even food related, he just doesn't care for much.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah,
he hates everything.
He is kind of as much of a curmudgeon as a 9-year-old can be. No, Dad, that's stupid. It's kind of. But he had it, and I had to lie to him originally, and I told him it was pumpkin spice because the idea of carrots in a pancake was not going to be a thing for him. But I'm not a syrup guy. Just if it's a cheat day, I'll syrup some things. But so we put some peanut butter on it, and he was like, "Yeah, it's really good." Actually, he really liked it. He had seconds, and then he even said, though the pieces in there, they kind of actually looked like they were carrots. and so I came clean. I told him it was carrots, and then I lied to him so he would eat it. And he was.
And now he hates everything more.
He definitely is going to have trust issues when he gets older.
And now he's turned into an anorexic bulimic.
But I did like the pancakes for sure. The muffins, I wasn't super in love with the texture. But who knows? I could have fucked something up too.
I liked the pancakes. Have you tried the pancakes?
I haven't tried the
all?
pancakes yet. No, I still gotta try the pancakes.
Yeah, and I'm the same. I don't usually eat. So what did you put on it? Did you say
just peanut butter?
Yeah. How about Do you guys ever eat pancakes with just butter on them? Like, because I don't use
Sometimes
syrup really either.
The only time I will is in a restaurant because a lot of times it's just by the time you get to eating your pancakes, you realize you don't have peanut butter, and a lot of restaurants don't have peanut butter at the table.
And then you got to sit around. You got to sit.
Yeah, and then you got to sit and wait for the waiter to come over so you can ask for peanut butter, and then hopefully they remember to come back, and so it's usually easier just to eat your pancakes with butter. But otherwise, I'm always peanut butter and always syrup.
Yeah, because I can do mine. I kind of like it now with just butter too. You know, like
I almost never we don't even have butter in my house.
I was going to ask you if you eat much butter.
I don't usually like for cooking stuff. I'll use like coconut oil. I'll just throw on my griddle in the morning, and I don't know. I love butter, but I just don't eat it all that often.
What do you put in your mac and cheese?
I don't eat mac and cheese. I no joke. I don't know that I have had mac and cheese in 3 or 4 years.
Well, what about
even Fat Tyler did not eat that much mac and cheese.
Really?
Yeah, it was just a
Fat Tyler was missing out.
Fat Tyler
didn't even know how to live.
Fat Tyler took care of his calories.
He was missing out too.
There was nothing he was missing. Speaking of Fat Tyler, so last night, I read this wonderful article. It was in my Facebook trending that the Big Mac has 2 new sizes. Have you heard this?
No.
Are they bigger?
One of them is. So there still is the Big Mac.
And Big Mac isn't that big.
The Big Mac is not that big, and it's always bummed me out. And I've thought this for a long time.
It's essentially McDouble with an extra piece of bread.
Yeah, yeah. And I've thought this for a long. And I still like the shredded lettuce, and I do like the special sauce stuff, and I think it's great. But
all
it's
those
always
McDonald's luxuries.
But it's always been disappointing, kind of how small. So I never order a Big Mac unless I'm also getting other things. And I don't eat McDonald's that often. But I read this deal last night that the Big Mac now is offering 2 additional sizes for limited time. There's the Mac Junior, which is for people who just kind of want something small that still has the Big Mac flavor. So it's basically like a McDouble with just a single patty, and then the lettuce and the sauce and the pickles, cheese, onions, but no extra bread, no. And I think it still is the same size patty. It's like a single Big Mac. Then there's the Grand Mac, which I guess has a third pound patty on it, and I don't know about that. It looked to me like it was the size of the quarter pounder patty. Like it looks
probably
like
the size before it's
patty.
cooked.
Yeah, but
it's bigger.
But it's bigger, and it much bigger. Yeah. And I had thought about it for a long time, going in and asking them to make me a Big Mac, but use the quarter pounder buns and shit, you know. And so I was like, well, I'm due for a cheat meal. So on my way home last night, I was like, I'm gonna try it, and I'm not just gonna have one. So I got permission from the wife to stop at McDonald's because I'll have to run all of my financial decisions past her for real. And so I stopped. And she said, well, get me one. I was like, okay. I was like, well, how many do I want? So I ordered 4 of them.
So I ordered 4 of the regular ones?
4 Grand Macs.
Oh, okay.
I only wanted the big one. I wasn't going to try. So I ordered 4 Grand Macs, and the guy looked at me like I was crazy. They're like $6 too. So it caught me off guard. It was like a $26 fucking meal.
Did you have to double check after you left the window with
whoa.
Megan, though, whether you could pay or whether you should just drive away from the drive-thru?
The decision had been made. So I got home and I powered through 3 Grand Macs in one sitting.
Dang.
How'd you feel afterwards?
Not that
Proud
good. Not that good self-esteem wise. No.
You just made a big
mostly
mistake.
disappointment.
Yeah.
Regret.
But they were good, and that extra size makes a big difference because
they put extra sauce to accommodate the extra
all
meat.
of it.
Is it the same bread size? I don't
no,
want more
bigger.
bread.
It's the quarter pounder bread.
Oh,
so
okay, that's all right
all of
then.
it's bigger.
Yeah.
Like it's not too much bread though.
Yeah.
It's really is great. It's a Big Mac that's worth eating.
I might go get one after.
Brought to you by McDonald's. I highly recommend while you can get them. And so Megan was asleep when I got home, so she didn't eat hers. So I was like, well, I got you that. And she was like, well, I was just joking about getting me one. So I had a Grand Mac for breakfast this morning too.
Was it as good this morning?
Honestly, yeah. Yeah, it was all right. So
it had been long enough since the last 3 that you're like, oh, I kind of want one
well,
again.
I did just shit for 45 minutes.
Plenty of room now. Do you guys like chicken McNuggets?
I don't.
Oh, you don't?
I don't mind a 20-piece once in a while.
Yeah. You don't like them? Like you dislike them?
It is a work for it's a cost benefit thing. It takes so much work to take. It's a bite. It's a bite-sized thing, and 20 McNuggets is not.
Maybe some podcast episode we should see, like
have a McNugget eating contest.
Yeah,
I could.
I would lose without a doubt.
Yeah, but you could just do it for the personal pride, like see what you could get to.
How many I could eat, or like how fast I could eat?
No, I think how many. Like in our 1 hour podcast, or
we could do that. We could have to have Ryan come and MC it for us. He'd have to keep things.
He'd probably want to. Yeah, he would want to.
Well, we're gonna need someone responsible.
We could also podcast a little, but like most of it could just be about
this.
Yeah.
But we, when I was in high school, every year, for some reason, around tax season, McDonald's would do, I think they do some version of it now, but it's more expensive, but they would do like 20-cent cheeseburger or hamburgers and 30-cent cheeseburgers.
I know for a while they were doing like the temperature the day before.
Yeah.
After you buy one, so it's like buy one McDouble, and the second one is the price of the temperature the day before. They were doing that with like the
quarter pounders or something.
Yeah, whatever it was, yeah.
But they would do it with and you could buy up to 10 of each. So you could buy a max of 10 hamburgers and a max of 10 cheeseburgers, and it would end up being like $5 for 20 burgers.
Yep.
So I would do that, and then I would eat all of them in one sitting. I did that for sure once a year for 3 or 4 years. I would eat
like 10, like
20.
20.
Yeah, 10 of each. No leftovers. Because what are you gonna do? Are you gonna eat? You're gonna eat 15 fucking McDonald's sandwiches, and then the next day eat 5? No. Because you're going to feel like shit. You're definitely not. So you're going to waste that 5.
Yeah.
So you just eat all 20, and you deal with the consequences of your actions.
So how many McNuggets do you think you could eat?
Honest to God, I don't see any reason why I couldn't eat at least 80.
What do you think?
I know I could do 40. After that, I don't know for McNuggets if I just get so sick of them after that. The thing is with McNuggets is that you could have so many varieties of sauce that it's not like if you have like a 4-pound steak where it's like I'm just eating steak on steak. In theory, with the McNuggets, you could be having a different flavor every one.
So a little barbecue for these 10.
Yeah. When I did that burger eating contest thing, that was like it's probably not the best idea to use condiments if you're actually trying to get, but with the flavor, with an 8-pound burger, like I like ketchup. I like ketchup more than I like burgers, to be honest with you. So I may have filled up my stomach with an extra, probably 2 full cups of ketchup during it, but it made it palatable after a while.
That's the thing too, is it just gets mentally like really hard to do. Which is actually where I'm getting to the point with eggs. Like I am starting to struggle with eggs.
Really?
And I'll go. For me, it was scrambled eggs. I did that hard for like 8 months, and then it was just one day. It's just like I'm gagging these down. This isn't enjoyable. Like I'd switch up. Like they always have cheese in them, but like for a while it'd be bacon, then for a while it'd be sausage, and for a while it'd be like basically or ham. I'd put in there too, and I couldn't do it anymore. So I went to Over Easy, and then it was like it's like I'm having eggs again for the first time. Like it's great. And now I'm about 6 months in on Over Easy, and it's getting to that same point where I'm really struggling with it. So I've been mixing in some
I think you're not
omelets.
changing it up enough. 6 months on one style of eggs.
And I think that's probably my problem is that I
do it like every 2 or 3 weeks. I'll do something different with my eggs.
I think that's what it is.
I've just had mine the same for like 5 years, and I just really like them. Like I just like it.
I just get burnt out on
it. It's like I wake up and I'm like, all right,
here we come. I am the same way. I'm pretty jazzed up for breakfast when I wake up in the morning for sure. I guess one last thing before we roll. This next weekend, we're going to try to podcast one way or another. We're not sure how we're going to do it, but I will be traveling to Minneapolis and doing my CrossFit Level 1 certification course and all that jazz. So that should be interesting. I'm hoping the test isn't hard and stuff. I don't think it is. There's plenty of stupid people that have their level 1.
Is it a written test?
I think so. Yeah.
Do you have to take like a blood test or anything?
God, I hope not.
Drug test?
I hope not. What was that? There's that old Mitch Hedberg bit where he's like, so I just got the results back of my drug test and I passed, which is good, except my drug dealer's got some questions to answer. No, I guess I'm not too worried about a drug test there, but the actual test I don't think I'm that worried about either. They pretty much
Because you found the answer key online.
They teach you lots of things, but it's kind of like anything. Do you ever do that shit for work where you'll have to do something to get some certification? It's like, okay, remember this part. You're going to need to remember this one thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure there's a bit of hand-holding. I guess they do also do, like, a couple of, like, workouts, though, also. Like, on day one, you'll do a couple things before you go, and same thing on the second day, which I'm kind of not that into. Spending 8 hours sitting and doing classroom stuff, and then before I have to drive 5.5 hours home, just get some soul-crushing fucking workout after or before I take a test, and then drive home. But
and who's actually offering this class?
Well, it's all CrossFit. Yeah, you guys may not even. So CrossFit HQ does all the certifications. So they have like a team of people that are on their level 1 certification team.
Yeah,
so,
but do they just pick like a box?
A gym will host the certification, and then they'll they'll just send their staff there for 2 days, and they'll put on the course and do all that jazz. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be, it's just one of those kind of arbitrary things you have to do, if you're going to do some coaching, And I guess once you take your level 1, you can just open a gym.
How many levels do they offer?
I think there might be 4. I know there's the level 2 is actually a really, really good, like a really good comprehensive course that after you've been coaching for a while, you can take your level 2. And I've heard really, really good things about the things you learn in that course. I would like to do that eventually. I know Derek has his level 2, and he said it's pretty legit. But I think the other ones after that, to get like your level 3, it's based upon like coaching hours and other stuff before you can go take those. So not any old Joe can get like their level 3. They also have, you can get certified with them to do anything, and I don't think there's much value in a lot of those things. You can get like a CrossFit gymnastics certification. There's CrossFit rowing. There was a CrossFit football program. There was
Do you think any
CrossFit
of that's
weightlifting
part of like them making more money?
Yeah, absolutely. Because they only make their money, literally, they only make money off of their shoe deal, then the affiliate fees and certifications. So, like, that's how CrossFit, the company, makes money. So, yeah, the more arbitrary certifications you could throw out there, the better. But, like, if I was going to get a weightlifting certification, I would rather get my, like, USAW weightlifting certification than a CrossFit one, because I would rather, like, it'd be able to transfer to other things. Not that the CrossFit weightlifting course is not valuable, but it's twice as much as the USAW one, and there's just no reason. I can still coach CrossFit athletes in weightlifting with the USAW cert. So, but yeah, so that's what I'll be doing next weekend. I'll guess we'll check in and let you know how that shit went, and I'm sure I'll probably be the biggest person there too.
I would bet so.
Good chance.
Much like at the Granite Games, be a fucking room full of hobbits and Tyler. But yeah, it should be good. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, so what else we got? You got anything else we need? No Tanner's sack today. He left his sack at home.
Nope, sackless.
Sackless Tanner today.
Saving up a big load in the sack for next time.
So, well, I think we're good to wrap up. Do you have anything else we need to cover today?
That's it for me.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks for listening. Make sure you go to Massenomics.com, scroll to the bottom of the page. You can sign up for our newsletter. While you're there, you click the Shop Now button. You can check out our store. We got hats, shirts. Let's see that hat there, Tanner. What's going on with that? We got that hat. It's pretty badass.
A little less ratty than mine.
Yeah, I promise your new one's going to look better. We've got this shirt that I got on. We've got other shirts that I don't have on. All our articles, podcasts, everything's going to be there on the website. Also, please, if you're listening this far, go to iTunes, leave us a review.
We've been on a little drought of the iTunes reviews for a while, so we can use one.
Yeah, for sure. Give us a 5-star rating and a review.
Maybe write a really crazy review, and we'll talk about it on the air.
This is what I want.
This is what I want. The most creative.
We're gonna check it every week, and anybody who leaves us a review, we will read it in some form or another on the air.
So let your imagination run wild.
Let's see. If you want to put us on the spot, go for it.
Yeah.
So let's.
We have no character limit. iTunes might, but you can get as wild as you want with this. It doesn't even really have to be related to the show exactly.
Whatever you say, we will. Yeah. Whatever you type, we will say it.
But we definitely need those.
Like Ron Burgundy.
Yes. We definitely need those iTunes reviews. So leave those for us. Also, you can listen to us on Stitcher. I don't know if they have a rating system there. I don't know. Leave one, I guess. But I'd rather you go to iTunes and do that one. We've got Facebook. Please make sure you're following Massenomics on Facebook. Also, go to youtube.com/Massenomics and subscribe to the channel. We are, just shy of 1 million subscribers?
Yeah, I think by the time this episode hits, we'll probably be at a million.
And then they send you one of those plaques.
Yeah,
with like
platinum
a
play button.
Yeah, so we get the play button on there. So I don't know if you want, you should be the one person, if you're listening, to go there and get us our 1 millionth subscriber. That'd be super.
Don't follow us on Twitter though. We don't really use that.
Nobody uses Twitter. We're gonna try to single-handedly make Twitter officially uncool
by having it.
Fucking nerds. So, but yeah, I'm Tyler. You can find me on Instagram at Tyler F. Stone. That's Tyler EFFIN Stone. And Tommy?
You can find me on Instagram at Tomahawk_D.
And he looks into the camera with those bedroom eyes. And Tanner, how can they get a hold of you on the Instagrams?
On Instagram at Massenomics.
All right, guys, that'll do it for us today. Thanks a lot for listening. Thanks for watching.
You just heard the Massenomics podcast. With your ears. You're welcome. Check us out on Facebook, find us on Instagram at Massenomics, and make sure you visit Massenomics.com and buy some of that sweet Massenomics gear. From your friends at Massenomics Studio, home of the world's strongest podcast, stay strong.